I'm live. Okay. All right, cool. Okie dokie. Oh, wait. Oh. Okay. Why is this set up correctly? I know, but I'm trying to get it to go on, what's it called? Oh, it says something. Send us a follow what Instagram. Oh. So I think we get a new stream key. Mm. Okay, well, you know what? We're having trouble streaming Instagram. If you ended on Instagram, this is expect. If not, then this continues try creating a new Instagram stream. So I got my laptop this time so that I can see people's comments. I don't know. Oh wait. All right, cool. Okay. All right, cool. Is that better? Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. All righty. So let's just get right into it. With my introduction, Sandy Streets is a podcast for the awakening soul. This is where we get real and we see the world for what it is. If you guys could please subscribe to my YouTube channel and help it grow, that's Sandy Streets, and that you are notified when new content is released. Now, let's hill the streets. So, today I wanted to talk about the ego. And so here's what I want you guys to do while we're doing the broadcast. I want you guys to think about what it is that your ego is to you. Do you have a big ego? Because while we're going through this, while we're going through the broadcast, I want you to think about some of the things that I'm saying. So I want you to think about what it is that your ego is to you. Now, during my healing journey, I had to learn how to dissolve my ego. And how I did that was by naming it. So if you ask me what my ego is to me, I'm going to say Samantha. Why Samantha? I don't know, but that's just what I came up with when I said I'm just going to name my ego and I'm going to put her to the side when I need to. And I named her Samantha. Now, here's the thing with our egos that okay, so our egos is what gives us our uniqueness. Okay. So our egos are good. Our egos have good intentions, but not so good results. So what I mean by that is your ego tells you what and who you think you are. Your ego can tell you where you think you fit in. Okay. So the ego's job is to protect our feelings, but what it ends up doing is it ends up guarding our wounds. Okay. So I remember I said this in my very first podcast. So your ego is what tells you you are okay when you're not. This is what I mean by guard your wounds. Your ego is what tells you you don't need help when you do. Okay. Now, the thing about the ego is the ego presents itself when it feels offended. And then that's when you get defensive and you begin to reasoning with people about their opinion about you. Okay. But we have to realize that when your ego presents itself, why is it? Why do you get so defensive? Why are you offended in the first place? Okay. Now I know that we've all heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So, why is it that you feel so upset? So, when you think about the ego, if you have to get defensive or you feel offended, is there a part of you that feels like what the person said about you was true? Could it be something that you're in denial about? Because at the end of the day, why would you even get defensive or feel offended about what somebody says about you? Now, the ego, the ego is what makes you feel like the people have you 50 shades of effed up. Oh yeah, because I feel and you got me effed up. What are you protecting? What exactly is it that you are protecting when you say that people got you effed up? So when you think about it, when you look in the mirror, now you have to look at the person that's staring back at you. Like, who are you? Who are you? Okay, because at the end of the day, if the person that you're arguing with said something about you that offended you, but if that's not who you really are, why are you offended? So who are you really? Now, you want to know something that's really alarming about our egos is what keeps us stuck. This is where we become stuck physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically stuck. Now, I said it earlier. I said that the ego makes you feel like this is where you think you fit in and who you think you are. So now, on my first podcast, when I was talking about me being like this millionaire trader, like my ego made me feel like, oh, okay, I want to be a trader. I want to be a trader so that I can make $1 million and I could take care of my family and I could do this and I could do that. But that wasn't my soul's purpose. Okay. So you ever wonder why you do a lot of things and they don't work out? That's your soul telling you that it's not meant for you. That's not what you're meant to do. Now, the ego creates competition. Okay. It can create competition and comparison. The ego will have somebody thinking that they can do what other people do 10 times better. And here's the thing that we don't really realize because you have people that be like, oh yeah, this person is copying off of me and la la la. Let me tell you something. One, they're not copying off of you. They're actually looking to take you out because 9 times out of 10, they already told themselves that whatever it is that you're doing, they could do it 10 times better. Two, your ego is presenting because why would you feel like somebody is copying off of you when you indeed got the idea from somebody else? What the ego actually does is the ego dismisses your true authentic self. When the ego presents, it actually lowers your vibration. Now, when you dissolve the ego, you become enlightened. And when I say by enlightened, it's because you can look at things from a different perspective. So, a lot of times, what the ego does is the ego makes us believe that we need something. So, a the ego might say to you, you need to do a side hustle because you need more money. The ego will have people devaluing themselves, settling because they feel to be needed versus loved. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to realize that being a side chick or being a person's backup is not a flex. That is no longer a flex. Okay. On a woman's behalf, because your ego has now convinced you to believe that this man is going to love you the way that he loves his woman, when in reality, he don't love neither one of y'all. On a man's behalf, when you think of the ego, he only needs you on the side because he needs you for a purpose, for a reason. As a male, why would you even want to be a side chick to a woman? Why would you even want to be a side chick to a man? When you think about it, what does that kind of tell you about how you really feel about yourself? The ego can convince you that being on the side is great and is beneficial to you, but in reality, what does it actually do? It doesn't do absolutely nothing. So now, but here's the thing though, because the ego has made you believe that you're there for a purpose, because he might tell you that he loves you, or he or that he's going to leave his his person for you. But here's the thing though, because if he loved you, and if you were the person that he wanted to be with, he would have left the person he was with. I mean, just think about it. And then, but you see, it's so crazy because, like, when you listen to the music nowadays, you got people talking about how they, you got all the, well, not even nowadays, this has been going on since I can remember rap, people talking about, you know, messing with other people's women and all of that, and yada, yada, yada. When, I mean, to a man, I guess it's probably nothing. To a woman, yeah, she probably doesn't love neither one of y'all neither. I mean, I would probably know because, well, I mean, let's just say I've been there and I've done that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, but here's the thing though, because when you value yourself, okay, and when you have that self love for yourself, you will not look at yourself as being less than or not worthy enough to be able to go and find your own person. Everybody has a person, and that's what we have to realize. Everybody has a person. So to think that, to have your ego make you think that it's okay to settle, that's why I said that our egos isn't really all that good. Okay. So now, and here's another thing that we have to realize, because we and I put this on Facebook earlier, because we get these emotional attachment to things, and we get this emotional attachment to words. Okay, because you get to the point where you got a person who's boosting just your ego, and that's it, but he's telling you, oh, I love you, but love is just a 4-letter word, and there are other words that mean the same thing as love. So what if he tells you, I attachment you, I passion you? Would you feel the same way? No, you wouldn't. The only way you can tell if somebody loves you is through actions. That's if they show you. Let me tell you from experience, you leave, you heal, and then you can attract that healthy love. But that's just what the ego makes us believe. So now, within my healing process, dealing with my ego and dissolving my ego, I had to see light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. And I had, going through my healing process, I had to remind myself that I am okay with not being okay, because our ego makes us believe that we're okay when we're not. And then when things happen, especially if it revolves revenge, we would think that revenge would be the best solution, but it's always not. Revenge doesn't hurt nobody but you. At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt anybody but you, and then of course it lowers your vibration. Now, here's the thing about the ego and dissolving the ego, because I love being able to see things from a different perspective. And I was like, when I put stuff on Facebook, I always like to get people's reaction or people's response as to how they look at things. And the reason why is because we have to understand that because the ego creates competition, comparison, it makes us believe that when somebody doesn't agree with us or when somebody has a different perspective than us, that they're wrong. And that's not right. Okay. Everybody is going to have a different perspective of how they view the world versus how you view the world. Everybody, your ego, you view the world through your eyes from your ego, from your wounds, from your experiences. So you have to realize that when we have well we can't have healthy conversations because it's always about, well, my opinion is better than yours versus, no, we don't have the same opinion, but at the end of the day, we can be okay with disagreeing. And that's what we have to understand. So let me just tell you something about looking at something from a different perspective. Because a lot of people have this thing with, well, not a lot of people, but we have been raised off of religion. Okay. Religion can be ego based if we're not careful with it. And the reason why I say ego based is because you get into the differences of religion when it's all supposed to be under one God, but then it's, oh, my beliefs are better than yours and my God is better than yours. But at the end of the day, what's the real true goal here? So let's just break down the difference between religion and spirituality, because spirituality governs the universal law of oneness. Religion teaches us to worship a God outside of us, that everything has to come from a blessing from someone else. With spirituality, with everything being oneness, everything that we already need is already inside of us. I can heal myself versus praying and waiting for something to happen. You could do it yourself. Now, the reason why I said that religion can be ego based is because, well, actually, here's my perspective of it. Now, this is my perspective. This is my opinion. Okay, I don't believe in the Bible. I believe in God, the higher power, the universe, however it's explained, or however you anybody chooses to view it, but I don't believe in the Bible. Now, here's how I look at it though. This is from my perspective because in the Bible, there's one perfect person, right? And then so because there's a perfect person and the world doesn't reflect the perfect. So there has to be an imperfect, right? Okay. So now you have the devil, sin, all the bad things come from the devil. But when you think about it, in reality, from what I have known, all the killings in the Bible were from the perfect one. When you think about the story of Noah, the great flood, who sent that? What was that? I can't, you know what? That's crazy because I was trying to look it up when I was on my way here. The one about the, what was it? Killing of the firstborns, or was it the babies?
It was killing the firstborn.
It was the killing of the firstborn. So again, when you think about it, it's like, okay, now with spirituality, we base everything off of yin and yang. So that's your light and your dark. So you have a light side of you, you have a dark side of you, you have a positive side of you, and you have a negative side of you. But does that make you two people? Because I honestly believe that the devil and God in the Bible is the same person. Yes, I do. So when you think about it, when you have negative thoughts, or when you're in this negative vibe, does that make you a totally different person? No, it doesn't make you a totally different person. You're just not having a good day, or something might have not have went right, but now you have gone from positive thinking to negative thinking. Okay, but see, here's the thing though, because we know that our thoughts lead to actions, leads to behavior. So when you negatively think about something, it puts you in that negative vibration. So now you're negatively attracting negative people, negative experiences, negative situations, negative objects. Okay? So in the same sense, what is really heaven or hell? I honestly believe heaven or hell is a state of mind. You live in either heaven or hell. But what would your perspective be? How would you look at the situation? Like, like when you think about religion versus spirituality, how does that make you feel? Like, do you think that, what is your take on it? I mean, like, I just want to know. Y'all can put it in the comments so that I can see it. Like, I really want to know, what is y'all take on spirituality versus religion? Now, but here's what's really important, okay? Because what I was talking about earlier about our perspectives not being right or wrong, okay? We have so many debates about things. There's always a debate on Facebook, always, okay? You have an opinion, somebody else has an opinion, somebody else has an opinion. The thing is, they may not agree with you, which is absolutely okay. But here's the thing though. Why are we debating in the first place? It's like your ego wants you to have 100 people backing you up about something that, for one, it's not really that important, but for two, why does it care? Why do you care so much about it? Or why does it give you so much power to have people on your side when it comes to your opinion, if that's what you truly honestly believe? Why do you even care what other people feel? And here's the thing though, because if you're going to disagree with somebody else's opinion, why even put it on Facebook? Why do you need Facebook to tell you how to live, act, think, love? Just think about it. Nobody's wrong though. Nobody's wrong. And this is why we have to start creating healthy conversations between us, because nobody's wrong at the end of the day. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. We don't have to agree on a specific subject. We can respect each other's decision and move forward. Why do we care anyways? You want to know why we care so much? Well, our opinions come from our wounds. Our opinions come from our experiences. So what we have been through, we want people to feel what we feel. Because but here's the thing though, at the end of the day, you why is it that we even engage in conversation when we know that the topic offends us? Is that why you engage in a conversation? Because you know the topic offends you, so you want to get your opinion out there so that other people would agree with you? So that other people would agree with you? Is it easier for you to be like, "Okay, you know what? Instead of dealing with the healing behind it, I'm just gonna it's easier for me to have people make me feel better in that moment." Now, when I talked about trauma last week, I talked about how trauma affects us in so many different aspects. Okay. Now, when we are able to create those healthy relationships between each other, we don't look at the differences between us. We start looking at the similarities, but not even necessarily the similarities, but now we are able to have differences with each other with healthy boundaries. Okay. With those healthy boundaries. Now, here's one thing I do want to say, because with the ego, it makes you compare yourself to other people. And one thing that I always tell myself is, and I'm pretty sure that, other people tell themselves this too, but the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. Because at the end of the day, if we're all one, there's nobody on the face of the earth that's better than you, and vice versa. So why are we comparing ourselves? Why do we even care? And the reason why I ask is because like I'm talking to you guys, but like I dealt with this too. Like I dealt with this too. I did everything that I talk about on my podcast. I have been through it. I've dealt with it. Like I dealt with it, and it's like dissolving my ego. I had to realize that a lot of the stuff that I became defensive about was a trigger for me. It was a trigger for me. Now, here's one thing that we get a lot with the ego is judging. Okay, because now judging is part of our human experience. Okay, but what does judging mean to you? It is so crazy. I'm so crazy because, like, see the people get it tattooed like only God can judge me, but be out here judging folks. So it's just like, what does judging really mean to you? Okay, like judging, gossiping, putting others down. What is it? What does that mean? How does that make you feel? Like in reality, how does that make you feel when you think about it? When you talk about people, when you judge people, when you put other people down, when you feel like you're better than people, how does that make you feel? Because I can honestly tell you, if that makes you feel better about yourself, then it's really just time to heal.
Assessing one's behavior from your perspective.
You said what?
Assessing one's behavior from your perspective. That's how I would define judgment or judging.
Oh.
Assessing one's behavior from your perspective. I gotta look at it. My perspective says this is what you are from my worldview or from my experience. It's the label I put on it, and that will be the judgment.
Well, you know what? That's so crazy because I didn't even look at it that way. But you see, this is the reason why I love other people's perspectives. This is the reason why I love other people's perspectives. Like, you have to understand, this is why I love it. So
you have to also understand what's the power in that judgment. So, like, if you went to court or something, there would be some type of thing that will happen in that judgment. So, if somebody places a judgment upon you, you then have to decide if that judgment's going to uphold or not. So, it really doesn't come to a matter of 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 what they feel about you, and not just how you receive it. And if someone judges you, you have the opportunity to say, "Well, I'm not going to uphold that judgment."
Right.
It's like in a regular court. If they don't have jail or other things that they would hold as a punishment, you can just walk out and say, "I don't care what you say." Bye.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, like, all right. So,
case dismissed.
Case dismissed. But listen to me though. But that's the thing though. So, like, you may have people who judge you, but what does that really do for you to judge somebody else? Why would you care that much to engage in a conversation to put somebody down if you really truly wholeheartedly feel a certain way about yourself?
I just really tried the definition I gave kind of normalize judgment because I feel like it's something that we all do but criticize at the same time. So I'm just going to
because that's why I said
I'm just going to jump off the bridge and say, you know what, let's go ahead and just normalize this shit because you're doing it anyway. So let's just, look at you're assessing someone's character from your view, from your perspective.
But see, here's the thing though, because
so now it's not bad or good. It's just I saw
right.
I saw it, I perceived it, I put the label on it, and I moved on. And that's that. 9 times out of 10, when somebody judges you, you don't even know it. 99.999%. It's happening so often.
But look at it. All right, so we're gonna look at it from a different perspective because here's the thing though, because how I look at how you can defer from judging is you can agree, you could agree to disagree. So you can, or what I mean is you can accept and not agree. So say you have
Or just do nothing at all, right? Or
no,
just,
but I mean, okay,
or
but
just
just
like
say,
keep it
because
moving.
this is part of our human experience. We do
Right.
it anyways, right?
Mhm.
So here's what we could do. So say you have a relative who engages in whatever activity they engage in. Okay. Now you say to yourself, I don't agree with the way they do their things because that's their life path, that's their choice.
Mhm.
Now, how I choose to accept them is I'll be okay with the way that they do their stuff. I'm just not going to be a part of it. So you can look at them and say, no, I don't agree with what you're doing, but I accept you for who you are without judging you.
Word. Uh, I can see that happening. And I think that's the perfect balance of, like, you know how they have that oil and water mixture thing.
Right.
So the oil kind of sits on top and the water sits on the bottom, and the jar is like this perfect harmony. I think when it's accepted, that's what happens. But then when you shake that joint up and it's all bubbly, it's like, because what happens is when you shake it up and it's kind of like intertwined, then what happens is um the oil will go to the oil. Like when the oil goes with the oil and the water goes with the water, they're gonna find their own tribe basically at the
Right.
end of the day. So if we can't mix, if oil and water don't mix, then oil's gonna find oil and water's gonna find water.
Right.
And that's the move. And then you see the perfect balance, and now we're cool again. And I think that's when the harmony comes in, like you said, when you just accept it, like that's who you
Mm-hmm.
are, because who you are and what you do, you have to understand. I'm not gonna give energy to it, especially if it has nothing to
To
do
do
with
with
me.
me. If it has nothing to do with me, that's the
Yeah.
thing. But see, here's the thing though, because but when you really look at it, you think about it, like gossiping, like really like judging others and putting them down, like that's a reflection of you. That's how you really feel inside. Because if it doesn't have nothing to do with you, why are you even bringing it up? What about it is that you are saying about this person that you really feel about yourself?
Well, the assessment is going to come from your perspective, as we defined earlier, right?
Right, but if you're coming from that, so all right, so let's just say it from here. All right. Now, when you truly love yourself and you have that self-love for yourself, you look at other people as if they are the same as you.
Mhm.
You don't focus on people's differences. You no longer see people through your physical eye. You see them now through their aura, through their through their spiritual self. So when I look at you, I mean, you're my cousin, but I like, like when I look at you, it's like I see your aura versus just like your face. Like you're no longer a face to me.
Right.
So it's like, but if you can look at somebody's appearance and pick them apart from head to toe, what is that really saying about you?
Just saying that you're a good assessor of your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like you have adequately, or you are adequately aware of your surroundings. Because those assessments can save your life. Be clear.
That's from a different perspective.
I don't try. What else could be true? Not genius take on what else could be true.
Then listen here, Mike can save your life. Cause listen, let me tell see, that's the thing. Like,
You know, I just felt that I had to walk on the other side of the street.
but also,
You know
like,
what I
okay,
mean?
like I get what you're saying, but also, like, I
I'm
mean,
like,
like,
you in the club, a whole bunch of people coming like, no, I gotta get about it. I know what they're about. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes those judgments can save your life.
all right, so look here, look. I'm actually going to tell you something fascinating about our brains. You know, our brains can decipher. Well, our brains know that something's going to happen 7 seconds in advance. So what happens with that is when you see something happening over and over again, okay? Like this was actually a study that was done. Like when you see something happen over and over again, when you are put in front of it, your brain can your brain can go up to 7 seconds not go up to 7 seconds, but your brain knows 7 seconds what's gonna. How am I trying to say this? Oh my
We
god.
need receipts. We have to fact check you. We need a fact check.
No, seriously, your brain is able to process stuff up to 7 seconds faster than it 7 seconds before it actually happens. All right, so look here,
I thought
look.
it was a little bit faster than that.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. All right, so boom. Say you go out to a bar, people start arguing. Then what? If they get to fighting, what is your brain telling you? What is your brain telling you?
If your brain sees a rise in energy, a rise in a lot of different things, your brain's saying it's fight or flight.
Right. So your brain is going to tell you either to you better go or
buckle up.
Exactly. So, like, depending on what situations you have been around, but your brain is telling you before it even happens. You see, like your brain is telling you, like, okay, like, boom. Now that you see this, I know. Oh, yep, it's time to go.
And most times people will say, "I can see where this is going." I'm not sure. I think your process. I think your. So I think what you're saying, what you're alluding to when we talk about the brain being able to process, I think that's along the lines of being able to process what you're going to say. So I think the study was done where your brain is it's already saying what you're going to say before you say it, and then that comes out. Now when we talk about being able to see things, some people can't do that, but I think that the brain is really good at assessing what's going on, feeling the frequencies and feeling the energies, and then being able to protect itself from what it feels, and then give you the assessment by saying, "This we're gonna fight. We need to get the fuck out of here." You know.
Remember that series on Netflix?
Which one?
7 seconds. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? Why do you think that series was called 7 seconds?
I think I watched it.
Oh yeah. See, there's always a method behind something. I'm telling you, there's always a method behind something. Okay. Now, here's the thing though, because don't ever ignore your gut feeling. Like, I know that a lot of people have had that. Like, do y'all have y'all ever had that? I know we have all had that gut feeling. That gut feeling. Now, I don't specifically know if it comes from that 7-second rule with the brain, but I wonder if it does. But then again, no, not necessarily. I just really feel like your gut feeling is, I mean, we know your gut feeling is your soul. That's your intuition is telling you, like, okay, so what is really going on here? Like, because I've had a few situations like that where I ignored my gut feeling and something bad happened. So I have a question. Come on, man. Like, go here with that.
Not like
You know what? You're hilarious. So I do have a question, y'all. Because I really want to know, do y'all know who y'all are? Do y'all really know do you know who you are?
I think I can only know who I am when the day ends, and I make the assessment of what that day was like, the type of person I was in that day.
Just for the day, but do you know, like, do you think that you found your soul's purpose?
No, I think I'm still on my soul's purpose, the path of my soul's purpose.
Why do you feel like that?
That's a good question. I feel like you do things in the rules of life. It's like there are some people who have a passion to do one thing, they're just going to do that for the rest of their life. But even football players at some point have to realize that I got to retire. I ain't going to do this forever. I got to do something else. And so I'm the type of person I want to just be looked at when I pass on that from that transition on to someone who just did one thing, but I want to be looked at more as a polymath, someone who's able to master multiple things and make it all work. And so, with that being said, I feel like I've done things that were involved with my on the path of my life's work. I feel like when you're on your life works path, your life works path, there are a lot of things that you will accomplish along the way that will then overall define you when you transition on.
I like that. I like that. Wow. So here's the thing though. Now, the reason why I asked the question was because, like, I feel like I found my soul's purpose. I feel like that the reason why I was put here was to be a healer. Okay. So, like, when I was born, my name was given to me by the people who had me, Sandra Walker. That is my name. That's the name that's on the birth certificate, a document that was given to me. Again, a social security number that made me an entity.
Who were the people who had you?
My mother and my father.
Oh, I just wanted to. And it felt like it was a whole different species of race of people. I said, who are you think?
No, for real though. Like my mother and my father. Like
I don't remember that.
y'all, that's my older cousin. That's my crazy older cousin. As a matter of fact, now he didn't want to be seen, but he's the person who helps me do my podcast. His name is J.E. Gamble. Yes, he is. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't really know what was going on here. Oh, okay. Excuse me. I mean, I was trying to shout you out in case somebody wanted to get their little, you know.
We'll get some more of that later.
Okay, fine then.
Sometimes you let the work speak for itself.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's the one who helps me with my podcast. So there we go. Now, what I was saying before is my identity was created. Sandra Walker, that was an identity that was created by somebody else. That's not who I am. That's why I said, who are you? Okay. Like at the end of the day, everything was given to me. I was given a social security number. I was given a name, and then I was given a piece of paper that said, hey, these are the two people that birthed you and where you were birthed at. But how does that really define us as ourselves, as your true authentic self?
If you are who you were programmed to be.
Right.
Don't rewind that and catch it later. I'm gonna leave it there though.
So you know what? All right. That's not time for today. But you know what? I want to thank you all so much for spending time with me. And I want to thank my cousin so much for joining my podcast tonight. And listen, y'all, I'm just trying to heal the streets one person at a time. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sandy Streets. And again, I just want to thank you all so much for having your undivided attention with me. And you all have a great night.